Hi, I'm Panda. We all love being creative. However, it is a big waste of time. Whoa, hold on there, me. Coming in a little strong, don't you think? Let's just get this out of the way. Hi, it's me again. I love making things. The problem I've always had is that nothing I ever made earned me any money. All throughout school, there were a few lessons I learned that really stuck with me. The worst kinds of lessons. Sit still and shut up, wait for the clock to turn, it's not about you, and the one that hurts creatives the most. The world doesn't want excuses, it wants results, answers. We live in hell and are constantly making things worse for ourselves so that a very small, minuscule amount of people that aren't trans people, sadly, hello, how are you, are getting all the quote unquote benefits. If you have the privilege of somebody training you at the worksite, you will quickly get the best piece of advice for the working class as a whole. Always be cleaning. If you have time to lean, you have time to clean. Idle hands are the devil's plaything or whatever, so you are expected to be doing something at all times, non-stop. This destroys your mental. At school, you learn to survive. At work, you learn that pretending to be asleep when you were little is the same as pretending to be doing the thing that you were doing like 30 minutes ago, because if you don't want to move on to the next thing, that's more work. So you just sit there and wait as time passes by so that you look busy. What does this have to do with creativity? I'm glad you asked me. Thank you, me. You're welcome, me. These are some of the many things plaguing the artist of today. You, me, the wallet, the retirement fund, all of those things want results. We need that moolah. Who cares where it comes from? $20 is $20 or whatever currency you're using. This mentality is ruining society, relationships, religion. Oh, wait, that last one is already bad on its own, actually. The reason AI took off is because the entire process is work. And work doesn't make money. The results make money. The product, the promise even, sometimes the finished piece, but we can see that that doesn't even matter anymore. Just the people with money, they'll just give you money, but you still need some things to survive, like a pre-cooked eggplant parmesan that you can throw in the microwave. You're not gonna do that by yourself. That's a lot of work and probably more expensive to get all of the ingredients depending on which one you're buying. Or cheaper. I honestly don't know. Our culture is so obsessed with work. People are working nonstop to survive, and when they stop working, they feel like their time is wasting away and they want to work more, so that somehow they end up working less in the long run, which doesn't make any sense. They also want to see you always working. If you're not like hired somewhere and you're just taking a day off or they see you sitting down, suddenly it's this big deal, right? Like people are always criticizing people that are like taking some time to chill. Nobody, I don't know if it's like jealousy or what, but they really get mad at you if you're not all the time on the clock or sleeping so that you can go back and keep being on the clock. I never made things because I assumed that I did not have the talent and I still don't know how to learn, which is the one thing school should have taught me, but it didn't. I learned to repeat, so when I try to do the same thing someone else does and it doesn't come out the same, I call it a failure. And if it did come out the same way, then it's just a cheap copy or a bootleg. If you want to make things, here's what you, me, everyone needs to do. Two things to set you off on the journey. There's obviously a number of things, but we're just going to go over two. The first one is learning and then applying what you learn. In my case, if I don't use my little exercises as building blocks in the art I make, then what am I doing? Your case might be different. Maybe your field is a little more straightforward than drawing and painting. We still need some kind of feedback. I don't know where to get mine. I just look at my drawings and I say, okay, I did it. I don't like how it looks. What do I do now? You can sit in a room with a bunch of equations and maybe figure out how to do math if you have some answers in front of you and like an order of steps you gotta take. But the only reason you can do that is because there is a right and a wrong answer. Learning art means embracing your weaknesses and either working to fix them or adapting to those weaknesses and making something stained with your own creative vision. The only real things out there are, well, things that are real, but anime proportions are not real, cartoons are not real. Somebody had to like simplify that stuff, and it's not the wrong way of making like the human body, for example. Second thing we need, and I'll let you go, is to forget the end product. Forget the results. You are poisoned with capitalism. You cannot escape the real world. You cannot escape the fact that you need to eat and you are wasting your time doing all this art. So hold on to that. Lean into the fact that you are, yes, wasting your time. Yes, nobody will see this. Nobody will care past the day or maybe the week or year that I make it. And that's if it ever even makes you money, if ever, you also should not care about that. Once we accept the fact that failure is inevitable and we will most likely fail, we can finally focus on the thing that really matters, which is the process, the making of the thing. Pottery is seen as this art form thing that you maybe do in high school or that you do here and there. But people used to rely on those pots for everyday things like storing their flour or whatever. Those clay pots were a necessity. Now we throw out every single craftsman in favor of a machine that can be tweaked to give a worse, minimally acceptable product so that people can cut costs and they can raise the prices of that thing that you're basically relying on. But you and I, we're better than that. In fact, we get better. We improve. We want to be better. We want to bring that image that's in our head or this idea that we have to life. But if you're not comfortable doing the thing, if you're not comfortable with the process and whatever you can make right now, you will never get to that next level. You'll never become who you were meant to be. If you cannot lift those 20 pounds, you're not going to be lifting 30, and so on. Nobody sees the process. That's what artists do. Only artists are aware of the process. The average person who hasn't tried to create stuff, they just see the final result. The process is yours. The finished piece is for the masses, the praise, the algorithm. Once you're done, it's gone. You leave it to the world and you focus on the next one. Because what it's all about is being in the zone, the state of flow. It's all that really matters to the creative brain. I know because I get in that zone all the time. I'm in that zone as I'm writing the script. And I even went off of script because I'm in the zone as I'm talking about the script and reading it at the same time. It takes a lot of effort to get there. But once I finally sit down, the words just pour out and I just keep yapping on and on and on. In conclusion, if you want to make things, whatever those things are, find your starting point. Forget about the results. Assume nobody will like or outright ignore anything you will ever make. Make peace with that and the fact that you'll always be poor and never make any money. And you will hone your craft. I can promise you that. And maybe one day somebody will like the thing that you make. But that's irrelevant. That should not be your main driving force. If you want to really make money, many artists out there have stepped away from their craft and they've gone to work, real jobs. But eventually everybody comes back. It's not easy. We all have to eat. But if you were meant to make stuff, you can only run away for so long until it calls back. It definitely called me back. I've been getting pulled into this life for since the day I was born, really. Anyway, I think I'm done. Have a good day. Do the thing. I believe in you. If nobody else does, drop me some names of whatever you're making. Like, I don't know, tell me where to find your stuff and I'll take a look at it, even if it's for like 5 minutes. And if I'm feeling extra generous, I'll even leave you a comment. Okay, that's all. Bye bye.